Hi, thank you for watching Dig Into China. I'm Dong Sheng. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. On November 8th, CNN reported the three giant pandas tumble around in their enclosure at the Smithsonian National Zoo in Washington, D.C., munching on bamboo shoots and leaves, climbing branches, and generally looking adorable. For the steady streams of visitors, it's their last chance to see Tian Tian, Mei Xiang, and their youngest cub, Xiao Qi, before the black and white bears head back to China on Wednesday. Their departure marks the end of more than 50 years of Chinese pandas being housed at the zoo, which was the first U.S. zoo to showcase the bears as part of what's being called panda diplomacy. Today, let's delve into the subject of pandas, exploring the phenomenon known as panda diplomacy. There are some misconceptions about panda diplomacy, which has evolved over many years. First and foremost, it was not initiated by the CCP. The well-known incident dates back to 1972, when U.S. President Nixon visited China. Prior to that visit, Nixon's staff had already inquired about pandas, and during his visit, Nixon himself expressed admiration for these animals, mentioning their cuteness. China interpreted this as an indication that Americans might be interested in pandas. Consequently, just 2 months after Nixon's visit to China, China sent a pair of pandas to the United States, marking what is commonly recognized as initiation of panda diplomacy. So, how did someone like Nixon become so acknowledgeable and interested in pandas? In fact, receiving pandas was not a new experience for Americans. In 1941, during the time of the nationalist government, Madame Chiang Kai-shek, the First Lady of the Republic of China, sent 2 female pandas to the United States through the United China Relief. Unfortunately, one panda died in 1945 and the other in 1951. This marked China's initial panda gift to the United States. In 1946, the nationalist government also sent a female panda to the London Zoo, but its exact time of death is unknown as there are no records available on this matter. It can be said that Nixon harbored an interest in pandas, likely having encountered them during his formative years. His expressed fondness for pandas prompted the Chinese Communist Party to swiftly gift 2, marking the true initiation of panda diplomacy. When did this era conclude? In 1982. Precisely a decade later. Throughout these 10 years, 9 countries received a total of 24 pandas from China. Surprisingly, North Korea took the lead, receiving 5 pandas as gifts. Japan followed closely behind with 4 pandas, housed in Ueno Zoo. The fate of these pandas sent to North Korea remains sparsely documented, leaving much to speculation regarding their care and condition in a nation with limited resources. Nevertheless, the Chinese are particularly intrigued by how Americans handle panda care. On February 1, 2023, the giant panda Le, residing in the United States, passed away at the age of 25, sparking heated discussion on Chinese social media. Many in China criticized the Memphis Zoo where Le lived, accusing it of animal abuse. In response, the zoo maintained that Le's demise was a result of old age, despite subsequent investigations by Chinese experts which attributed the death to a natural cardiac condition associated with age. The criticism persisted online. The controversy even raised concerns about the possible early return of pandas, including Ya from the United States to China. This incident exemplified the CCP's strategy of manipulating national sentiments, a method frequently employed to shape public opinion. By 1982, China's panda diplomacy encountered obstacles due to negative impacts on animal conservation, sparking significant opposition. Consequently, the Chinese Communist Party ceased the practice of gifting pandas. Nevertheless, panda diplomacy persisted through alternative means, such as touring exhibitions and leasing arrangements, offering opportunities for both fame and fortune. The annual rental fee for a panda reached $1 million, typically with a 10-year lease costing $10 million. Foreign zoos, recognizing the panda's allure, capitalized on this by selling tickets for panda viewings. In locations like Ueno Zoo in Japan, obtaining tickets is no longer a matter of standing in line, but it involves a lottery system due to high demand. During that era, a substantial number of pandas were transported overseas through leasing arrangements and touring exhibitions. For instance, pandas were dispatched to participate in events like the Olympics to attract attention. While this brought fame and financial gain, it also faced significant opposition. Why? Because pandas are considered an umbrella species. What does this mean? If you declare the presence of pandas in a specific area, that area essentially becomes a natural reserve, preventing other commercial developments. The panda species, acting as a protective umbrella, safeguards a variety of species throughout the entire region. Therefore, pandas are referred to as umbrella species, and protecting pandas translates to the protection of numerous wildlife species in the area. Therefore, in that period, numerous wild pandas were captured and sent abroad on lease to generate a foreign exchange. However, this sparked opposition from animal rights protection organizations. The U.S. government took a firm stance, declaring a ban on any further leased pandas, leading to contentious disputes, which unfolded in the 1980s. As the 1990s approached, the practice of leasing panda evolved into collaborative research efforts. China and foreign nations began joint research on panda reproduction and the feasibility of their relocation. This shift allowed the pandas leasing to continue under the guise of scientific exploration. Besides paying substantial rents, Chinese researchers were required to secure visas, making it a lucrative arrangement for China. Consequently, pandas were extensively sent abroad, masquerading as research initiatives, serving as an extended form of what is known as panda diplomacy. This strategy not only brought in revenue but also fostered positive perceptions. Pandas, with their endearing demeanor, became effective ambassadors of goodwill. Upon seeing pandas, foreigners would immediately think of China, solidifying pandas as iconic symbols and representatives of China's image. Why has panda diplomacy come to a close? Pandas residing abroad are making their way back to China, and there is a cessation of renewing panda research contracts. This change is associated with the ascendancy of domestic nationalism and the adoption of an assertive wolf warrior diplomatic style, substituting the panda image with that of a wolf warrior. In this scenario, the wolf, or more precisely the war dog, is fervently making its presence known on the diplomatic front. Why can't China balance both pandas and wolf warriors? Once the Chinese Communist Party triggers nationalist sentiments with the wolf warrior image, it becomes challenging to control the situation. For instance, the domestic outcry in China demanding the early return of panda Yaya after fueling such a substantial opposition force and inciting nationalist and extreme patriotic sentiments. If the CCP were to renew the panda research contract and extend the lease for another 10 years, would it work? No, it wouldn't. Doing so would face a backlash from the fanatical youth cultivated by the CCP. Thus, panda diplomacy concludes, and the future will follow the wolf warrior diplomacy path. After all, whether pandas or wolves, they are just animals, neither are human. Currently, pandas worldwide are returning to China as their leasing and research contracts come to an end. The leasing agreements are clear. Even if a panda gives birth to cubs abroad, they maintain Chinese nationality and cannot stay outside of China. Pandas are exclusively found in China, with nationalism proving to be a double-edged sword that, if mishandled, can lead to self-inflicted wounds. In the recent APEC Summit held in San Francisco, there was a shift in China's assertive diplomatic approach when Biden met with Xi Jinping. On October 30th, the People's Daily published a commentary emphasizing the need to maintain Sino-U.S. relations. It seems that the Chinese Communist Party aimed to easily sway public opinion, utilizing pandas or adopting a more aggressive stance as circumstances requires. Yet, the CCP seems to recognize the difficulty of quelling populist sentiments once they are ignited. Consequently, pandas are now returning to mainland China. So, pandas will no longer be visible to the rest of the world. What's the significance of this? It's a relatively minor loss. When the CCP is depleted, it results to restricting the export of mineral raw materials. In July, the CCP decided to impose export controls on gallium and germanium-related items. In October, it declared export controls on graphite. While the CCP can impose restrictions on these resources, the impact is comparable to recalling pandas. Can export restrictions really strangle Western countries and the rest of the world? That's highly unlikely. The comprehensive map of a free society is not just a geographical layout. It involves economic and political aspects. In this world, no mineral is exclusive to China except for panda. However, other minerals and natural resources are not limited to China. It's just that in those years, other countries deemed it economically unviable to produce on their own, and China offered cost-effective options, so they chose to buy from China. Once the CCP enforces restrictions, rebuilding production lines in a free society is not a formidable task. The only challenge may be a temporary period of insufficient supply. However, once the supply chain is reconstructed, they can break free from this dependency. China is intertwined with the global community, but the world can function without China, and it's just a matter of determining the associated costs. This analogy is akin to pandas. Initially intended for worldwide research and observation, although pandas cannot be isolated from the global community, their absence outside of China wouldn't result in substantial losses. If panda diplomacy has truly come to an end, then let it be. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.